Okay, so in the last video, we just did a quick review of how we're going to solve these and how to put it in the calculator. So let's go ahead and get started on some problems. So I'm just going to work straight from your worksheet. I'm definitely not going to do all of the problems, but some of them. So I'll work mostly through the odds. You'll be doing the evens, but I'll give you a variety here. Now, one thing we didn't talk about is negative exponents, okay? So, remember, negative exponents means reciprocal, okay? So, if you have x to the negative 1, it is 1 over x. Now, when we go to solve on here, it is just as we talked about before. So we're going to do the reciprocal. So we're still going to keep the negative with it, -3. Okay? So both sides to the -3. Guys, here's the other thing. You need to put the parentheses in there. Don't get lazy and just put it to the power. It needs the parentheses. So again, if I take a -1/3 times a -3, I'm going to get 1. Now on this side, I have 1/4 to the -3 power, okay? And so this is where we're going to come in and we're going to do our negative exponent. Negative exponent means the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1/4 would be 4 over 1. No, you don't need the 1, but if you put it there, you can. And now it's cubed. So we're just going to put in 4 cubed. If you don't know that, you can either go calculate it, and we get 64. Okay? That's how easy this is. Don't make these difficult, guys. They're really not bad. They may look a little bit, but they're really not too bad. Okay, so we're going to go on to number 3. So it is k to the 5/3 equals 243. Okay, so again, same thing. We're just going to take it to the reciprocal. So that would be 3/5, 3/5. See, that cancels, so we always do that. So I didn't do that up there, but make an X there, okay, showing that you know that those all cancel out. So k equals 243 to the 3/5 power. Now this is where I told you I want you to write this out, guys. That also helps you practice. So 243, again, power over root. So my root is 5 and my power is 3, okay? Again, we talked about this a little bit in class. A lot of you don't want to put the parentheses there. You need the parentheses there with the cube on the outside. Now, from here, again, I showed you in the last video that you should have a button. It'll either look like that or like this. That'll allow you to take the 5th root of 243, okay? The other thing that we could do to help you guys, if you wanted a quick table, I could get you a table. We could make one real quick so that you could just check. And some of you might like that better than your calculator. So if that is the case, let me know. Or actually, I might just have you make one. Okay, so that should be 3 if you put it in your calculator. And then we have 3 cubed, which is 27. Okay? And you're done there. Okay? Let's go ahead. Keep losing my worksheet. Okay, I'm not going to do number 5 because it's pretty much exactly the same. So I'm going to jump on down to 7. Again, you were responsible for 5, even though I skipped it. So hopefully you're going to notice this one looks a little bit different because it now has stuff inside the parentheses. That's okay. That's not a problem. So we're still going to do the whole thing to the 3/2. Okay? Again, guys, you need those parentheses. So put those parentheses there. So this is going to cancel. I'm just left with the x plus 8. And again, we're going to write this as power over root. So it is the square root of 16 cubed. Now that one you should be able to do in your head. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 cubed is 64. Whoops, sorry about that. And so we're going to go ahead and solve it. So x equals 56. Okay. Now, while we're doing this, I should also tell you we can always check these guys. So back to the original problem. This is what it looked like. Okay, because that is what we use. We go back to the original, not the one we were solving. And I get 56 plus 8 to the 2/3 equals 16. So 56 and 8 is 64 to the 2/3. So again, power over root, I'm looking for the cube root of 64, and then I want to square that and see if it's 16. Well, the cube root of 64 would be 4. 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64, and 4 squared is 16. So this does check. Guys, we can always check any equation that you're given. It can be checked. I know it's a pain, I know it takes time, but it can be checked. So there is no reason to miss any equation given time. Okay, so again, guys, as you needed, pause the video, get these down, and then let's keep going. Okay, we'll go ahead and do 9. 9's pretty easy. 81v to the 3/2. Again, we're going to take the whole thing to the 2/3. Guys, I'm going to watch for your work. I need these parentheses like that. Cancels. Okay, 81v. And then this would be the cube root of 729 squared. Again, I showed you how to put that in your calculator. The cube root of 729 would be 9. 9 squared is 81. And we can solve this. Again, guys, I'm not spending a lot of time on the actual solving the steps because you should be able to handle that by now. That should not be anything new to you. Okay. And let's see, we're going to jump on down to 13. It's got a lot more steps to it. Now, I'm also going to say, whoops, sorry, my equation, my pen's not right all of a sudden. There we go. Equals 11, negative 11/2. So, just like I told you on the last one, guys, this is your, okay, that's my exponential part, okay, or my exponent part. So, again, you might want to highlight it. These are the problems that caused you guys earlier when we did absolute value. A lot of you missed these kind of problems, okay, because you kept wanting to put these two things together, just make it a negative 10. Guys, that is not what you do. Again, this is a times here, and then your add or subtract. So you're going to move the 5 over first. I cannot emphasize that enough. You got the negative 5 still left out in front. That's multiplied by. And we're going to need to get a common denominator for this, or you can put in your calculator, whichever the case may be. As bad as I would love for you to be able to do fractions, that is not necessarily something at this point we have time to teach you if you don't know. Okay, the next would be we're going to divide off our negative 5. Now, guys, one of the things I don't like you to do is this. I know some of you are going to do that. What you really need to do is this is multiplied by a negative 1/5. Okay? So make sure you write it correctly. Cancels, 32. Okay? So again, I'm going to get 1/10 here. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Now I've got just my rational exponent problem left. I'm going to again take it to the reciprocal. In this case, it would be a negative 2 over 1. So I'm just going to put it as a negative 2. These cancel. I'm left with the 32 minus 4p equals, and we're going to do 1/10 to the negative 2. Again, I'm going to take care of the negative first, which means I'm just going to flip that 1/10 to be 10 and square it. Okay, which is 100. Okay, move your 32 over. And that's going to give me 68. And then divide by my negative 4. And so P would be a negative 17. Okay? There you go. Okay. Now, when you go to look at some of these as answer, you're going to see a couple of them with multiple answers. Not just one answer, but two answers. Okay? And we haven't talked about that just yet. So we will come back in and talk about that afterwards. But for right now, we're just talking about the main roots. Okay? There's the positive roots. We'll come back and talk about when it's going to be negative root on there later. So right now, I just want you to do the positive roots. Okay? So I think that's enough examples to give you. But again, guys, if you're working on these, you're working in class, you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And I'm sure I will be helping you as you do these anyway. But this should get you started.